So we'll start with chanting Om 3 times, followed by the invocation shlokas. Please close your eyes and take a deep breath. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunektu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Tinmadam Devam Sadguru Brahma Vidvaram Sadguru Brahma Vidvaram. Good morning, good evening everyone. Hari Om, welcome back. We are covering chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, we have 3 sections. One is about the Sankhya Yoga, which is the knowledge of the highest. So that is where we understood the nature of Jiva and the relation, how we are not our body, how we are our Atma, etc. The second section covered primarily about the Karma Yoga. So once we understood what we want to be, how to get there. That Karma Yoga, the path to get there is talked about. Now the third section, which we had transitioned in our last session, is talking about what are the lakshanas or characteristics of a seeker who has reached his destination. Okay, so in this case, the seeker who has reached his destination is termed as Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna means one whose prajna, intelligence, wisdom, and prajna also means the ability, efficiency, right? So all of those are in steady state. So when someone's, so what in sometimes what we say is that when this person has got a lot of prajna or skill, means that it could be about a skill in cooking, or a skill in making money, or a skill in making friends, etc. But here the real prajna is to get to a state where from which he doesn't have to return, he or she doesn't have to return. Meaning once you reach Brahman, there is no returning back, and he is there forever. Sthita Prajna as a knowledge is, this knowledge of Brahman is steadily with him, and he is never moved from there. So that's why Sthita Prajna word is used. So now Arjuna has asked,
Venkatji, is you at the highest volume? Am I the only one who is is the sound is coming a little bit low, or is everybody hearing sound okay from Venkat? Oh, okay. So your volume is on full speed, because I'm having a little difficulty adjusting my volume here.
Okay, so just in case I'll bring my laptop closer, maybe it is helpful.
Okay.
Is
Yes.
it any better?
Yes, it's better.
Okay. How is it for other people? Maybe Chanji or
I can hear you well, no problem.
perfect.
No
Okay.
problem.
So, thanks. I'll also try and speak louder then. Okay. So this Sthita Prajna, who is this? Arjuna asked this question: who is this Sthita Prajna, and how do you define? Okay. So basically, he wants to have a practical understanding of a Sthita Prajna. How does he talk? How does he walk? How does he sit? Okay. And how does he talk? We talked about this in the past. Is that how does it uh, sit means how does he respond when leaves his body, as in like sorry, when he is away from his day-to-day activity, day-to-day needs. Okay, how does he? Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, when he is not interacting with the world, how is he with himself? When he's proactively working with the world, how does he behave? And when he's reacting to the external situations, how does he respond? So these are the 3 questions that were asked. Then Lord Krishna started explaining the answer. That's also we have seen in verse number 55. He says that Prajahati yada kaman sarvan Partha manogatan atmani eva atmana tushtaha sthita prajna tada uchyate. First, he has defined who is sthita prajna. That is one who is able to give up everything, okay, which is manifested from all the desires, which are in turn coming from sankalpa, which are in turn coming from vasanas, and he is fully contented in Atma. Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. So the desires have left him completely. Okay, because for us, we still have association with the world, whereas for Sthita Prajna, there are no attachments with anything else. He has established himself in the self as self. Okay? So right now, what we are trying to do is that you are right. We are trying to establish ourselves in the self, but we also have several attachments to this worldly things, worldly people, worldly experiences, etc. So we are trying to move around. And when we studied Mundaka a few years ago, we studied that the knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. So Atmaniyeva Atmana, once he is in Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. Once he is, he understands Brahman, he becomes Brahman, and there is no need for him to interact. I mean, like there is no need for his dependency on external world. And then that thought process continued in uh, a in the next sloka, where he said, Dukheshu anu udvigna manaha sukheshu vikata spruhaha vita raga bhaya krodhaha sthitadhihi muni uchyate. So, uchyate means this is how it has been defined. Okay, who's uchyate means it is said. It is said by who? It is said by Shastras. It is said by people of wisdom. And so when it is talked about, it is said by Shastra, it is said by Pandita, the people of wisdom, it also means that it is defined, that is how it is defined in our parampara. Okay, so Dukkeshu anu udvigna manaha. Udvigna means it is a expression of a mind when it loses its equipoise. So when we lose our equipoise, then we becomes anxiety. So this anxiety is being defined as udvignata. Anu-udvignata means no anxiety. So that means that when someone is in sorrow, the mind did not lose its equipoise. Okay? So what's takeaway for us, that don't think about why this sorrow is given to me. Okay, so then mm, so one of the questions is that whenever we run into any problem, we tend to question God. Hey God, why me? Why now? Okay, but when we have gained whatever we have gained in every happy moment, or in not just in every happy moment, in any happy moment, we never turn to God and ask the question, hey God, why me? If we get something, we are very happy, we take it, we may thank God. Okay, so we may say that, oh, thank you, God, thank you, God. Oh, only with your grace, I got it. Okay, so that's what we say. But beyond that, we never question, God, why me? When we are in good things, I mean, like when we are experiencing good things. So we should not question when we are experiencing bad things either. Okay, so that is the one of the takeaways when we said dukkeshu anu udvigna manaha. So again, why Arjuna has asked this question? Remember, Arjuna is asking this question because he wants to be like a sthita prajna. Now, that means what? Like as the students of Bhagavad Gita, we are all Arjunas. We want to be like Sthita Prajna. If you did not want to be like Sthita Prajna, take inspiration from Arjuna and say like, okay, yes, we also want to imitate a Sthita Prajna. Because everyone has got some kind of role model in our life. So here, our role model that is being first established in Bhagavad Gita is a Sthita Prajna. And we want to be like Sthita Prajna. Avisthita Prajna, he is Dukkeshu Anudvigna Manaha. So that should be my role model. Okay, so when I am in sorrow, I should not be like when I'm in not when I'm in sorrow, but when I'm in bad conditions, right? When situations around me turn bad, don't get into that sadness. Okay, don't get into that sorrowful pity state. That is number one. Vita, Raga, Bhayat, Krodha, Sitadhihi Muni Uchyate. So Muni is one who has clarity. Okay, he has now in this particular case, he has a clarity that this object of Raga, Dvesha is all him alone. So in this case, what he's saying is that he is free from Vita. Vita means free from. Raga. Raga means attachment. Bhaya means fear. Krodha means anger. And the mind is peaceful. Sthita. Sthita means still. Okay, still and firm. And it is steady. Okay, so such a person is Muni. So these are the two definitions. I mean, like in these two verses, the definition of who the Sthita Prajna is first defined. Okay, so now we are going to go through a few other shlokas where the status of the nature of this Sthita Prajna is being defined. And okay, so we'll continue from the next verse. Okay, so let me break down the verse for you. Okay, so this verse is 57. Okay, Yaha sarvatranabhisnehastatta prapya shubha shubham. So this sarvatranabhisnehastatta prapya, that is broken into sarvatra anabhisneha is next word. Sarvatra anabhisneha tat prapya. So सर्वत्र अनभिस्नेहः तत् प्राप्य शुभा. Okay, tat prapya, that is one word. Shubha and Ashubham becomes Shubha Shubham. Nabhinandanti. So that is, Nabhi means navel. Okay. But here it is not Nabhi, it is Na Abhinandanti. Okay. Na Abhinandanti, Na Dveshti, Tasya Prajna Pratisthita. These are the breakdown of words. Okay. Okay. So maybe Shobhaji, do you want to repeat after me? Yes, Sattvatranavisneha.
Yes, sarvatranavisneha.
Tat prapya shubhashubham.
Tat prapya shubhashubham.
Nabhinandanti nadveshti.
Nabhinandanti nadveshti.
Asya prajna pratisthita.
Tasya prajna pratisthita.
So, yaha means one who. Okay. One who means, who is this one who is Bhagavan is talking about is the seeker who has moved further in his progress and became samadhistachala, right? One who is not disturbed in his samadhi, mean like his mind is equipoised and it is not disturbed at all. That jnani. Okay, so this yaha is referring to that jnani. Yaha sarvatra anabhisneha. So anabhisneha, let us understand. Sneha means friendship. Okay, typically. So that means what? An association. Abhisneha means an attachment. Okay, so sneha. So this abhi is a prefix for sneha. So abhisneha means attachment. Anabhisneha means unattachment. Okay, anabhisneha is unattached. And sarvatra means completely. Okay, sarvatra means completely, like in each and everything, big, small, significant, insignificant, doesn't matter, like in everything, with everything, one who is unattached to everything. Okay, so this yogi or this jnani, okay, this mumukshu who is unattached to everything. Yes, sarvatra abhisneha. Now, what is attachment? Attachment is, there are two aspects in attachment. Okay, one is there is a want. Okay, I want this. And so that I is implied. So the second aspect is I. So I plus I want is attachment. Okay. Now, and he doesn't, it is not like he doesn't want anything, but he is not worried about the presence of it or absence of it. See, here is important thing, right? Here is the important differentiation or distinction. It is not like a yogi or a jnani doesn't want anything. Okay, he is not condemning anything. Rather, he is indifferent to the presence or absence of anything, because there is no attachment, there is no dvesha also. Okay, for dvesha means there is no hatred or dislike for anything either. So that is yaha sarvatra anabhisneha. So that means that our takeaway for us is, we should also try to be able to have equipoise, whether irrespective of the presence or absence of any object, that whether we like or dislike, whether it could be any object, person, or any experience. Okay, so this is yaha sarvatra abhisneha. Tat prapya shubha ashubham. So this tat prapya shubha shubham na abhinandanti na dveshti. So this is the next big phrase in this one. Okay. So what happens is that if one has to find if one has attachment or not, what they do is that they need to check themselves when favorable or unfavorable things happen to them. Are they delighted in happiness, or they are feeling down in sorrow? This is a question. So, so Shubha Ashubham means what? Shubha means what is Shubha? Is of course Shubha in absolute sense is
Auspicious.
auspicious. But when you say Shubha Muhurtam, okay, in our Vyavaharika, in our transactional nature, what does the meaning of this Shubha? When we say like, okay, it is a Shubha Muhurtam, that means that this is a Muhurtam that is good for me. So that means it is what it is saying, that one that is aligning with me, we consider it as a Shubha, and one that is not aligning with me or opposing me is Ashubha. So basically Shubha and Ashubha in this context are so one that is in alignment with my needs or with my desires, or in not alignment with my desires. Okay. Abhinandanti means one who is delighted. Dveshti means hate. So today what happens when a situation is in alignment to my needs or my desires, then I take delight in that, abhinandan. Okay. If the situation is pratikula or ashubha based on my taste, then I hate that. Okay. So Shubha, so now this person, tat prapya, as and when it comes, prapya gets Shubha, anukula. Anukula means good things happening, Ashubha, bad things happening. Good or bad is again like that relative, right? Okay, so based upon his likes and dislikes. Na abhinandanti, he is not delighted just because there is something good is happening. Na dveshti, okay, he's not in a dislike mode just because a bad thing has happened. So what is happening? Because he has no attachment for anything, whatever happens, good thing happens or bad thing happens, he is not disturbed. Okay, or he is not feeling very high in happiness. Okay, why? Because tasya prajna pratisthita. So this prajna, again, this knowledge is pratisthita. Pratisthita means established. So here the mind of jnani. So what happened is that here the mind of the jnani is not misbehaving. Okay. So and one who considers the misbehaving mind is so first what happens is that if I consider today, what happens is that many people, they don't even know that their mind is misbehaving. They're oblivious to it. Then there are certain set of people who knows that they are misbehaving and they feel bad. What do they feel bad? How they feel bad is, oh, I don't know. I want to be a good person, but I end up doing bad things. Okay, so which is better than the previous set of people. Then there are certain other set of people in the next level in the evolution. They they're able to observe their mind, and when their mind is giving them bad indications or I mean like bad ideas, they what they think is that this mind is apparent. Apparent means it is mithya. So this mind is just, it is not me. It is just the flow of thoughts. Let these thoughts come, let these thoughts go. I have nothing to do with this mind. This is our first step as a spiritual seeker. And then once you start doing that, once you let that mind, you are not paying attention to that mind will stop misbehaving. Think about this, right? As an example, when a child, especially like a 1 to 2 year old children, right? They are running around and they did something, they did a mistake, okay? They did a mistake because of which they got hurt. Now they look, if the mother or father are in vicinity, and if they see that their mother, their parent is there, they will start screaming and crying and crying. And then if you notice and you go to them, and then their anger, their crying will be like goes like, like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. But as a parent, you quickly analyze the situation and you don't pay any attention to the child for a couple of minutes. The child understands that the parent is not going to pay any attention, and then they quiet down immediately. Then they stop misbehaving and they come to terms with it. So the mind is also like that. As long as we give importance to the mind, it wants to push the envelope as much as possible. But so that is where, like, if you say that, oh my God, what is happening to my mind? Why is it like that? Then the mind keeps on giving more and more trouble for us. But once we start saying that, oh yes, okay, that is my mind, that's how it is, okay, let it be, I understand, let it go, whatever it is, right? So that's how, like, when we try to differentiate, then it keeps on going away. So
Venkati,
yes, go ahead.
I want to say something related with that because since I notice like more like the thoughts, or sometimes I feel like even bad, like even guilty of having these kind of thoughts. It's like, oh, why are you judging this? Or why, like I was feeling like bad with myself because yeah, like why these kind of thoughts are repeating, like but now I see like it's also now I feel it more like I don't have to believe everything that the thoughts say. So it's yeah, so we can become more de-identified from this thought. And what you're saying about just not paying attention, it sounds good to me.
Yeah, it is
or
not,
or,
like
or
not yeah, it is not like not paying attention. Rather, you are acknowledging it and say, okay, so this is the nature of mind. Sometimes good things come, sometimes bad things come. Let them come, let them go. I
okay.
am separate from the mind. Okay. So this kind of a thing is important, right? Otherwise, what happens is that when you not acknowledge, or like when so that sometimes goes into suppression mode.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah,
So
okay.
don't suppress. Okay. But acknowledge and let it go. Right?
We to do the sublimation,
Yes.
replace with something good. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm losing my.
Yeah, I like that idea. Like if the mind is thinking something, it's like sometimes if if the mind start criticizing a person, like I mentally do pranams to them and touch their feet or something, like, so just humbling myself because yeah. Yeah,
So
it's
when
good. Thank you.
thank you both. Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions before we go to the next verse?
No, I'm sorry. My this thing is not going well. No, I think the main thing at the end of the day is that how do we deaden the mind? So when there is no mind, everything else is lost. There's no attachment, there's no desire, there's no, we are equanimity anyway, because our mind is not reacting. There is no mind that is going to be influencing our attitude and behavior. So the ultimate, level of progress is to get rid of the mind as much as we can. And as the mind is gone, we have reached that level of, oneness with the Bhagavan. And I think the second part of it was the vairagya. I mean, what you were saying is indifference to the world. No matter what happens, that's the definition of vairagya also, right?
So
Yeah.
just yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So let's
Don't you need the mind, however, for all the activities, including contemplation? I guess what we're discussing here is to how to preclude the mind from bifurcating in the wrong direction. But isn't it important to bring mind in the right direction so that it's available for contemplation, nirvyasan? Because I mean, is it really okay, or is it possible, or is it even necessary to shut the mind down? I mean, that is the yogi approach as opposed to Vedantic approach.
yeah. So the thing is that for us to, as human beings, for us to sustain this body, we need mind. No question about it. Now, however, for our life, we need so many, in our life, we have so many necessities, without which our life will be very difficult. Think, for example, car. Especially like in the areas where we live, where there's no public transport, without car, we are immobile. Now, our whole existence, okay, I mean, like I'm embellishing a bit here, okay. Our whole existence is dependent upon the presence of a good car, okay. So when you have a reliable car, reliable transportation, that is how you are able to buy groceries. That is how you are able to go to do your day-to-day transactions at work, maybe like whether you need to go to a doctor, hospital, or meet friends, etc. For whatever you want to do, you need that car. But even though that car is trustworthy car, that car is not you. That car is an instrument that serves specific set of purposes. In the same manner, when compared to car, mind is like much closer to us and it serves a lot more purposes, but still understand that even that mind is not me. And now, when a car, okay, when a car tire gets deflated, we inflate the tire. Periodically, we take the car to mechanic and get oil change done. And if something goes wrong, we get that fixed, we get this fixed, etc. Like you do a lot of things for your car as part of car maintenance. Now, mind is much closer to us than the car. What kind of maintenance did you do? You, it's not just you, any of us, on a daily basis or on a regular basis to correct it. Okay. In fact, if someone comes and tells you your thinking is wrong, meaning they're trying to correct it, we jump upon them and give our piece of our mind to them, so that they would never ever dare to question our decision making process for next 10 years. Right? So we shelter our mind more than taking care of the mind. Okay, sheltering mind is different from taking care of mind. It is like a mother who loves the child unquestioningly. Sometimes when the child is doing mistakes, she will still defend the child, and then sometimes the child can grow up to be a negative person, a difficult person, because the child did not learn much. Okay, so that's a possibility, right? Okay, so whereas with respect to mind, this is not a possibility, but it's a certainty. Okay, so because of that, when the mind is projecting negative things, right? Unnecessary things or unnecessary anxieties, gossip or whatnot, whatever it is projecting, the best thing to do is not to yell at the mind, but acknowledge that feeling, acknowledge that thought, and let it go. Okay, because mind is, again, just like the car, is an instrument that we rely on, and it is that's the at least car you can at the most bring as close to your home as possible, and you can also bring it into your garage, but you don't bring your car into your main home. Okay, whether your car is $5,000 worth or $500,000 worth, you still keep the car in the garage alone in the same. But when it comes to the mind is with us from the time I wake up till the time I go to sleep. In fact, the mind is there even when I'm dreaming too.
Yes.
So that
Except
close
when you are in
mind
deep
is
sleep.
association. So that's why we need to acknowledge and let it go. So that is the best way to uh, bring the mind into control.
Mm.
And there are three steps: identification, negation, and sublimation, not suppression. If I correctly remember those three parts to how to control, how to regulate the thought of flow of thoughts is to identify them, then do the negation, and then sublimate, replace them with something positive, something good, something divine.
When you say negation, what does it mean? Like an example? Can you?
Well, negation means like you have a thought. Now you try to say it is not me that is thinking about it. It is my mind. So you can let go of it, like Venkat said. The thoughts will keep flowing through our mind, but we have to somehow remove ourselves from those thoughts. And so it's not me, it's my mind that is having this thought. So we can negate them and replace them with something different, something that will be positive.
And that will be sublimation, or is
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not suppression. If you suppress, they will keep coming back again and again. They will become more forceful.
Yeah. Thank you. I do remember a little quote. Thank you for reminding us that.
Yeah, I think I remember in one of the, I don't know where I read, it's like the king who is watching the nice, circus or whatever is happening in his court, some, entertainment, but he's not participating in it. He's only a witness to the, or a general taking a parade who is taking the salute, but he's not in the parade, but he's an observer of the parade, or something that we are observing it, but we are not participating into it.
Bengaji, you start discussing about like how do we take care of the mind, right? Like practices to take care of the mind. And in this Guru Paramparam, it's advisable for us to meditate, right? To meditate, to write notes as well, like about introspection, right? Introspection.
Yes.
I don't know if any one of you would like to comment more about it.
Yeah. So again, someone's phone. Okay. So yeah. So introspection is where like meditation, introspection, they are all needed. But to get to the meditation, right? I mean, so there is a yoga marga based meditation, whereas Vedantic marga of meditation, Vedantic path of meditation. Vedantic path of meditation, which is also called as Nididhyasana, comes after Shravana and Manana. Shravana means listen to what scriptures are saying about your true essential nature. Once you understand, once you heard and understood, you reflect on them, that is manana, and then you try to abide in it, that is nididhyasana. So, so this nididhyasana portion you will do maybe half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, kind of a thing. But what do you do for rest of the day? Okay? So try to keep this thought that I am Brahman in the back of your head and try to disassociate with the nature of things that are happening all around you to a certain extent. And it is possible sometimes, and we may forget about it sometimes. Then towards the end of the day, you do an introspection in terms of what we did, what we did not do, whether what kind of right things we did, what kind of wrong things did we do, etc. Right? So that is like maintenance of a spiritual diary. So this introspection, and then as you're doing this introspection, and like when you have like low level workload, then you are actually observing your mind, which is what like Chanji is talking as identification. Once you identify that, so some of them may be good, some of them are bad. Don't just negate only bad thoughts, but understand that all these are, when you are saying negation, understand that all of these thoughts are not me. And all of these, you offer it to God as, okay, so this is what is happening. This is what are coming out from this Vasanamaya Deha, meaning this Karna Sharira, which is full of Vasanas. And this Bhagwan, I'm offering it to you. So that kind of a thing is where we do it on a, like whether you are meditating, that's also like, even during meditation, we do that. When we say, let the thoughts come, let the thoughts go. So that's what it is, right? So you're acknowledging them, let them come, let them go. So that is what is going to Bhagwan. And you are, during the day, you may say, Bhagwan, this, I'm getting these thoughts. I'm offering these to you. You can say explicitly like that in your mind. Okay. So now let us get back to our next shloka. Okay. So this shloka, number 58, right? So here, this shloka is one of the most famous shlokas with a most famous example in Bhagavad Gita. There are a few shlokas where few examples are given, and in this shloka, one such example is given, and this example is very famous. So let us break down the words and then chant. Okay. Yada samharate chayam. So this chayam is actually cha ayam. There are two words in there. Chayam. So this cha and ayam. Kurmonganiva. That is actually three words are there. Kurmaha, angani, iva. These three words together becomes Kurmonganiva. Sarvashaha. Indriyani indriyebhyastasya. That word has got Indriyani, Indriya, Ardhebhyaha, Tasya. So four words are there. Indriyani, Indriya, Ardhebhyaha, Tasya. Prajna, Pratisthita. So this is the shloka. So who wants to repeat after me, Adulji? Yada samharate chayam. Okay. Looks like you have a
Echo.
echo because maybe Varshaji's phone and
Phone is going to, yes.
yeah, right next to each other. So maybe Chanji, do you want to repeat after me then?
Yeah, go ahead. I will do.
Okay. Yada samharate chayam
Yada samharate chayam
kurmonganiva sarvashah
kurmanyani savashaha
indriyani indriyadhebhyah
indriya indriyani baya
indriyani
indriyani
indriya
indriya
adhebhyah
atbeya
tasya prajna pratisthita.
tatsya prajna pratishtita.
So here, even in the last shloka, we have seen tasya prajna pratisthita, and here also the last part of the second line is tasya prajna pratisthita. So here, the tasya prajna pratisthita, what it is saying is, when these following conditions happen, thus, okay, tasya, okay, prajna, his prajna, his means his or her, that the tasya is not gender specific. So their prajna is considered as established. Their jnana is established. When their jnana is established, then they are established in that jnana. So then they are sthita prajna. So everything that is up to that tasya prajna pratisthita is how the definition of prajna being pratisthita, meaning the sthita prajna's definition is coming. So sthita prajna, so what is happening is the lakshana, the characteristics of sthita prajna is being shown in day-to-day life in different angles. Okay. So what is this? What is that one that has been said in this one? Yada kurmaha angani iva sarvashah samharate. So yada, so this kurma angani iva sarvashah samharate, this is an analogy, a simile, or an example that is being given here. Yada means just like. Kurmaha, kurmaha means a turtle. Angani, angani means its limbs. Sarvashah samharate iva. So all those angani, all those limbs, it is withdrawing. So that means just like a turtle is withdrawing all its limbs. So when does turtle withdraw all its limbs? If you see a turtle, it has got a protective shell, a big protective shell, and this little two legs in the front, two legs in the back, a tail in the, actually like in the rear side, and a tail in the back, and a head in the front. Those are like a very few, they're visible a little bit, and it is going. As soon as it sees a danger, what does it do? Immediately, the legs go inside, four legs, the head goes inside, tail goes inside that protective shell, and it becomes immovable. And the protective shell is hard, right? So then it stays like that. And it is also like God has given the those turtles ability to blend in nature, right? So it is the color of that protective shell is like a camouflaged with the surrounding environment. So until the predator or the danger goes away, it stays just like that. Okay, and then once the danger goes away, the protective shell goes up a little bit. The head comes out, checks around. If anything is there, nothing is there, then other pieces also come out, and then it starts moving. So this is the example that Bhagavan is giving. Now, so what is this? Okay, what is got to what kind of example is this? Why is this example being given? Indriyani indriya adhebhyah sarvashah. So indriya and indriya ardha. So we have 5 indriyas. Indriya specifically we're talking about jnanendriyas. We have 5 jnanendriyas. Now, what is the purpose? So like these are eyes, ears, nose, touch, right? And eyes, ears,
Mouth.
and mouth, taste, right? For 5. what is the purpose of my eyes? The purpose of the eyes is visible objects, right? Now, imagine all of us are in a party, okay? Okay, and then suddenly there is a commotion that goes on, and uh, someone like spectacularly dressed, they are coming and walking with a bunch of people behind them, okay, and they entered on this side and then they walked this side. Now everyone's eyes in the room started here and they followed this person to the other end, right? So what am I saying with this example is the Vishaya, the subject of eyes is visible forms that it is attracted to. Okay, so then eyes are gone behind that person. Now, similarly, interestingly, we were doing a puja this morning in our home. Okay, so we're doing the puja in our backyard, and for puja, what we needed to do is obviously we need to do prasadam. Okay, now when the prasadam is being done, it has to be done fresh. It cannot be made 2 days before and kept in the fridge, right? So, so my wife was making prasadam and as naivedyam. Actually, it is called naivedyam, not prasadam. Okay, well, what we offer to. Do you know the difference between naivedyam and prasadam? I know it is kind of like tangential, but
What you offer is the nivedam, what he gives you is the prasadam.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So she is preparing naivedyam, and then the priest says, "Oh, can you please close the door because that smell is overpowering me. The smell of the sambar is overpowering me." So, so the point is that see, like he is not interested in sambar or anything like that. Okay. However, the purpose of that nose is the smells, right? So like that, all these indriyas, they have got their purpose, their objects of desire. So now these, so indriya ardhebhyaha means world of objects, and indriyas are, of course, indriyas who are going behind this. So this indriyani indriya ardhebhya sarvashaha means all this collection of indriyas which are running behind all the collection of objects, which is everything in this world. Okay. So what do we need to do is just like this kurma, what does kurma does? The turtle did as soon as it it sensed a trouble, it pulled down all the limbs inside. In the same way, what this yogi is doing is, as soon as any indriya notices any objects
Oh.
of indriya artha, what is he doing? He is pulling down all indriyas. He's giving a command, right? To, in case of turtle, what did we say? There is a head. There are four like limbs and then tail. So six of them are going inside the shell. So in our case, he's saying he's commanding 14 of those to come inside. 5 karmendriyas, 5 jnanendriyas, and 4 antakarna. Everything come inside, okay, and under the protective shell. Why? Because an object of interest, okay, an object of interest which could pull my mind away into the world is coming. So I want to protect my whole thing. So that is how he is acting, and hence that is how he is preserving his steadiness. okay, of the wisdom, and he is staying like that until that object of desire goes away. It is now, see, the thing is that understand this kind of a thing is primarily needed during the in the beginning stages, in the initial stages. Okay, so that is how like many of us think, right? So, and how do we do that? We do with our sadhana chatushtaya sampannatvam. Remember, like we studied something like shama, dama, uparama, titiksha, shraddha, samadhana. So we employ those kind of techniques to pull in all our senses inside whenever an object of interest goes. So in this context, uh, we we had a I mean, like at least I understood as that, okay, so this only for in the beginning stages. Later on, once you become Sita Prajna, you don't need to worry about it. So our teacher, Swami Advainandaji, gave an example. Okay, he gave a story. It's a parable. That there was this Mahatma. He's a jnani, and one person would come, and like he takes his classes, etc. And one villager would come and ask him, "Did you conquer your uh, raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes?" And this Mahatma wouldn't answer. So this villager keeps coming and asking this question, and maybe every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, whatever, right? Periodically. And this Mahatma never answered that question. And his students were like a little bit disgusted with the attitude with which this villager was asking this great saint. And how, and they're also angry with the teacher also because he's not responding in any manner to that villager. So like this, few years passed, and then the Jnani was on his deathbed. So Jnani realized that he's going to die soon, and then he calls his one of his disciples, and he says, "Go call that villager." And then the student goes and brings that villager, and then the Jnani says, "Yes, I don't have any, I think I have conquered my likes and dislikes." And then he immediately dies. So, despite being Jnani, he knew that these likes and dislikes are such a dangerous things that even though you think that they are conquered, they can never be conquered. So he has to be vigilant all the time. So he never ever answered that question to the villager with confirmation that yes, I have conquered my raga and dvesha, until he knew that he was about to die next moment. Okay, so this is I mean, it's a parable, yes, but we actually read about these, how Indriyas are dangerous later in the same chapter, where these Indriyas are considered, I mean, sorry, these likes and dislikes are considered like a highway robbers. Okay, so that is something that we will see maybe in few shlokas ahead at a later time. So yeah, this is the essence of this particular shloka. So before we conclude, are there any thoughts or questions or
No, I think the discussion, this is very pertinent, I think, because how to manage your mind, or how, what's the word? How to mind your mind.
Mhm.
And this is the most critical part of our, I think, spiritual knowledge and understanding of how to keep your, because more you try to control it, more the floodgates open up, and how to kind of control this flow of thoughts And I know all of us have to do our own individual journey to manage it. But the discussion is very pertinent on our day-to-day basis, because this is the critical piece, where the thought comes from, and what triggers what, and so how to sort of get them out of your way and try to keep your single pointed focus
Mhm.
and not let anything else disturb you. I think that's the whole point. Is self-control. I'm sorry, there's two words: self-control and single-pointed devotion. And to achieve that, that is what the mind has to be somehow put on side, and it has to be eliminated as much as can be done. That's why this is very critical piece of our individual sadhana.
Janji, where does the thoughts come from?
From the objects. The thought is triggered by some object. That's Indra. Indra is the first center of that triggers the thought. And then the desire comes. Once the thought comes, the desire follows. And then everything else flows into the motion.
But isn't it the mind? Isn't it the mind that triggers? I mean, objects are there, but they are not really. I mean, it is the mind that is projecting all these objects in front of us. It is not that if the mind is not there, we don't see the objects.
So the thoughts come from our vasanas. Okay. When the vasanas are fructified, they come from, they come out as thought. Okay.
Purva sanskar.
Yeah, but also like yeah, I can relate also like with the indriyas, we perceive the objects, right? And then we feel like, okay, we like this or we don't like this. And of course, it is the mind that also perceive them. Without the mind, we cannot. The indriyas are tools of the mind or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So the
But
present
but the vasanas are there as tendencies, right? For our likes and dislikes as well.
yes.
Mhm.
So that's where like we need to acknowledge them and then let them go.
I think they're all interconnected. It's so hard to
Yeah.
sort of.
Because at the end of the day, what we want to do is that we want to exhaust our vasanas. And for us to exhaust our vasanas, they will come into us. Okay, so they will start their journey from Karna Sharira, the causal body, into Sukshma Sharira, into Sukshma Sharira is our subtle body, into the mind. And then if it is approved, then it goes into karmendriyas or jnanendriyas and karmendriyas and enters into the physical body. Meaning, say for example, a thought of I want to watch a movie has come. Okay. So then what happens? Yes, let's go check in the newspaper or on internet about okay, which theater is showing which movie, etc. All that jnanendriyas will get into action. Okay. And once that is come, then what happens? Karmendriyas, what they do? Okay, so let's walk. Let's take our car. Let's drive, go there, buy the ticket, go sit, and then watch the movie. Right. So I'm not saying watching a movie is a good thing or a bad thing, but that is how that particular vasana is fructified. But when we do this, what happens is that vasana that I want to watch a movie, right? Even though that particular vasana is gone, that strand of vasana that, okay, watching this movie has become stronger because now you watch another movie. And then you want to watch a movie again, maybe movie again. So it becomes a routine or a practice to watch movie every Friday night, okay, or every Saturday evening, or something like that, right? So then this vasana becomes a habit and it becomes much more stronger, and it is going to be very difficult to break. So whereas when the vasana comes, okay, and I want to watch this movie, now what this yogi is doing is pull in all the indriyas. So that means I know there is a thought to watch this movie, but all karmendriyas are arrested, all jnanendriyas are arrested. So what happens? We acknowledge, oh, I want to watch a movie. Okay, that's fine. But this is a thought, let it come, let it go, and then that thought goes away.
Mhm.
And then because of that, the core of that vasana that want to watch a movie has got weakened, because now it hasn't watched a movie for a week maybe, or maybe month, or maybe 2 years now, right? So that the core of that vasana that watching movies has got weaker and weaker, and this slowly is melting away, right? So that is how this yogi or this Mahatma is able to let all the thoughts come and let all the thoughts go, or or even whether it is coming because of internally. So these thoughts are essentially coming from vasanas, but they could be triggered because of externality. Okay, they could be triggered because of an ad that we saw on TV. They could be triggered because a billboard ad that we have seen, right? So like that, it can be triggered because of anything, okay? So they, as Chanji was saying, right? So the trigger can happen from outside also, because of which the thought comes. Say, for example, now, let us say, I like sweets. So what happens is that when I'm going in front of Dunkin' Donuts is the place where they sell donuts, okay? I may want to go inside Dunkin' Donuts and eat. Okay, the visibility of that Dunkin' Donuts store makes me want to go into that store. But on the other hand, Atulji hates donuts. I feel like he doesn't like donuts. Okay, so this going in front of Dunkin' Donuts has no impact for him, because that vasana is not there. Okay, so that vasana is not triggering that, okay, I need to go inside and have a donut now. Okay, so that's where the external object is triggering, but the vasana is coming from inside.
Mhm. Yeah,
So let us
yeah.
Yeah, let's conclude.
So just one last about this Dvesha, and when we recognize these likes and dislikes, we should apply also the system of being aware or recognize, negate it, and then
Yeah.
supplement.
Yeah, because what happens is today, we may not even know what we like and what we dislike. Okay, meaning we may not even know what our strengths and weaknesses are. We may not even know whether we are, when we are talking to people, whether we are hurting them or speaking nicely with them. Okay, so these things we don't know. And once you are paying attention and being aware, so that is when you start to know what is going on in your mind, what are your likes, what are your dislikes, what triggers you, and all of those things keep coming out, and that they start give. So then you start understanding your mind. So that is when you know where to be careful, where to be relax. So, for example, like in the army or in any military forces, armed forces, they'll say, stand at ease, attention. Do you know that? Are you familiar with that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Now, when they say attention, that means that you need to fully come to a, put your legs together, feet together, I mean, hands together, and stand erect and listen carefully.
Tadasana, yeah.
You cannot be in this attentive position all the time. So after a minute or two, you need to stand at ease. So you have to relax a bit even while standing. So these are the two positions they talk. Okay. So for us also, our mind cannot be in high alert all the time. So once you start analyzing, you understand that, okay, so these are the things that can trigger my mind. Okay. So once you understand that, okay, what are the things that are triggering your mind to go in a particular way, in those situations, you become attentive, and you become kurma. Okay, you become like a turtle. You don't become like turtle for everything. So when in this example I just said, right? If I'm walking from in front of donut store, I need to become like a kurma in front of donut store. Atulji doesn't need to worry about that Dunkin' Donuts, but maybe he has interest for Starbucks coffee. So he has to become a turtle in front of that Starbucks. Okay, then Shobhaji may have to become like turtle in front of some other store. Okay, so like that. Otherwise, we can relax a bit. Shobhaji, you had a question?
No, I'm. Thank you.
So we'll conclude then.
Yeah.
पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ